Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am Admiral Ellis, and welcome to Under Construction. This is episode number... wrong button. Episode number 99. I had a feeling it was 99. Anyway, here we are. We're looking at RJ Canyon here. For those who don't remember, no, it's not named after RJ Corman, although that would have been a funny thing to do. It's named after Ron Jeremy, the porn star. So, our goal today is to get some texture down in here. And that might prove to be a little bit difficult, considering I don't really know what I'm looking for in terms of what I want this to look like. I just spent kind of a spree going through Google Images and looking around and thinking, and the thing that I eventually settled on was sort of like a Mount Washington look, with some stones and some grass. And that is not good, because that doesn't tile well. Let's see if we crank the scale way up. That could work, but I don't really like it. So, we're looking for... okay, this is not half bad. I actually kind of like the way this looks. And that might do for some of the less steep things, but as we talked about last episode, the thing that we really want to look for is one, maybe two textures that we can use in excess that can make this valley look pretty good. Now, we don't have anything that's steep enough. That doesn't look good at all. We don't have hardly anything that's steep enough for, that looks terrible, for sheer rock cliffs. There are a couple spots where we could do that, but by and large, that's not what we will be doing here. The thing that we're looking for is stuff that looks sort of like the lower slopes of Mount Washington. And I probably should have looked up specifically Tuckerman's Ravine. But the thing is, it's really hard to find something of this size. The area that we're working with here is very sort of specific in size. Also, something's totally gone weird with the rest of my computer, but at any rate. Yeah, we want something that we can put down the sides of this canyon. Whoa, okay, yeah, no, my computer's freaking out. Must be because we're in the middle of all these trees, huh? I haven't really worked in an area with this many trees in a while. You know what, let's turn down my render distance. That might help. Yeah, it's at 6,000. I used to work on 3,000 all the time. And that was before I got my graphics card. So we want to find something that we can get away with for an edge. That doesn't look like it's going to be it. And I don't want it to be the same thing that we've been using. So, I want to find something new. Something to make this stand out. But the thing that I didn't get to look at was the actual pass where this bridge is from. Mostly because I was sort of being hasty. And partly because I couldn't remember the name of the bridge, which I could have just looked at the bridge for, but who does that anyway? That looks terrible. That doesn't tile well. Really, really green grass. Street texture, which I don't know why you would do that. Let me just, keep my task manager centered so I know what's going on. And I can look down in the corner to see some stuff. Okay, so those are some seasonal textures, but... wait, what was that? I saw rock cliff. These are ultra textures. We could definitely use an ultra texture if it works well enough. But that is really poorly tiling. This looks like it could be of use, but it's too brown. And that's kind of too bland. You know, I'm looking for something that can pass as a slope. Maybe that we can put some grass on, but I really want it to be more rocky or pebbly than anything. What we've got here, I think, is our best shot so far. I haven't found anything that's better than this thing that's right in front of us. Weisenfield. Or Feld. It's always Feld. It's never Field. I like that. I think that has promise, but this doesn't seem to have promise. This actually could do well as really thick moss, but that isn't what we need right now. Actually, that could do well up here, or even down at the bottom near the river. In fact, let's get some texture in here. So, the bottom of the river, I think we're going to keep this muddy texture that we've been using in the swamp, just for continuity of texture. That's one thing not to forget about. When you're going from one area to another, yeah, there are certainly going to be a lot of abrupt changes sometimes, especially when it has to do with things that are man-made, but if you're going from one natural area to another natural area, there's rarely a hard cutoff. Sometimes there is, and there are a few situations where you might find that. For example, rivers merging, you might have one that's very muddy and one that's very clear, and so you would have one where you can see a very clear and rocky bottom, and the other one where you'd be able to see a muddy bottom, and right here might be one of those places. You could get away with saying this is one of those places, and then adding, more crushed stone like down the bottom here, and I might start doing that a little bit up the ways, maybe like up here. Yeah, that looks pretty good, actually. Because that's like a crushed stone, where you'd have gravel underneath the river, because the river is relatively fast-flowing and, is pulling all the dirt downstream. And otherwise you're going to want, for slow-moving rivers, you want something like this. For fast-moving, other way around. For fast-moving rivers, you want something like this, where you've got stones, gravel at the bottom, relatively clear-looking water. Yeah. And then for slow-moving rivers, you want to see mud. Something that looks very clearly very dirty. And that's one of the issues with the other areas that I was pointing out, is the fact that when you're trying to use a bunch of textures at once, if those textures don't mesh well, then you have a lot of those breaks where your continuity of textures is all gone. It doesn't look like those things belong next to one another. And that's not what we want. We want to have an area that's, that feels like it's contiguous, that it feels like all the bits belong next to one another. And this I'm just doing in order to get some excuse for grass along the edge here. Some of this isn't going to have grass. I think one of the biggest problems the biggest mistakes that we made when we were doing the terrain for this canyon is the fact that the walls are all very sloped, which sort of indicates not very rocky, more of a sandy almost, because it won't retain its shape. If you have a very rocky cliffside, it's going to try to end up vertical, whereas a sandy cliffside is going to try to go more towards diagonal. You have, what's the word? There's this word for the limit of when stuff stops piling up and starts sliding, and I cannot remember it. Okay, so let's go back, towards the top. We have, that's not how you spell coarse. Colorado Rocky Hillside. I'm not sure if it means that it's a rocky hillside or that it's a Rockies hillside. So, this actually looked kind of promising. My only issue right now is the fact that it really isn't vibrant at all. It's very close to gray. And that doesn't mesh well with what else we've got going on. What about this instead? We don't really want anything that's too barren. That looks pretty good. That and this go really well together. This does not. I'm thinking I might supplant all of this with this texture. It doesn't seem to be tiling particularly badly. I can tell that the texture is repeating, but it's not a very clear tile, and that's a good thing. That's kind of what we want to see. Will it blend well with this? So this area right here is actually fairly steep. So it will blend with this. It almost looks too good. Hold on, let me see if I can actually use it. N3V posted a thing about them adding a whole bunch of JR content, or no, N3V was put out a survey about things on the download station. Let's see, Colorado Rocky Hillside, they're both built in. Awesome. And in the group, at least, the overwhelming consensus seemed to be, yeah, we tend to find stuff without dependencies on the download station a lot. I wish you guys would fix that and get more assets on the download station. You know, get more third-party content creators to put their stuff on the download station. I'm not sure if it was as a direct result of that. I kind of doubt it, but I don't doubt that it had a part. JR announced that they were adding a whole bunch of their stuff to the download station. A whole bunch of their freeware. Which, you know, some people were like, you know, whoop-de-doo, it's already freeware, you can get it. And I'm over here in the corner running in circles shouting, woohoo, because it means that I can use it in this map now, at least once we go up to 2019. I don't expect the stuff to be necessarily available in Tane. Tane is still being supported, though. I don't remember how long it was before N3V shut off proper download station access. What the hell is that texture? Why is that a texture? Alright, never mind. Proper download station access for 2012. I'm not sure if there's, you know, you can sort of finagle your way in there anyway, just if stuff works. But I do know that they officially discontinued support for it a while back. And I would say I recall it being shortly after Train's A New Era came out, but I can't say that for certain, because I didn't start using Train's A New Era until at least a couple of years after it came out. You can go by, like, the eras in my channel. The era of Trains 2006, which is the first Trains era, which was long after 2006, I might add. It was after 2012 had come out, I think. Or it may have been after 2012 had come out. Can't totally remember. This is looking pretty good. So I got on that bandwagon wicked late, and then I tried out the Tane beta, and I was just thoroughly disappointed because nothing worked. You couldn't even resize your window. And I was like, well, this is garbage. And then Tane had kind of a messy launch, too. So it's not like it got better right away. And I was like, nah, I'll just stay in 12 for a while. And they were I think it was when they were gonna discontinue support for 2012 that I was like, nah, best get on to the next version, then. If they're cutting support, I might as well. Move along, little doggy. And then I started working in Tane. I don't remember what the first thing I did in Tane was. I know it wasn't well, it was probably some part of the Iron Horseman route. The Iron Horseman route by that time, by the time we moved up to Tane, we had already produced quite a bit of the Iron Horseman by the time I moved up to Tane, and moved the route up to Tane. The last version, there is a final version of the route in 2012. It's posted somewhere. And that was sort of like, see you around, 2012. Peace out. And we said goodbye to 2012. I made that version and put it out because I wanted to make sure that somebody had, so that people that were staying on the last version had something. Sort of like how I'm sticking around in Tane to do this. Whereas the moment that I'm done with this, I'm saying goodbye to Tane and moving on to 2019. Mostly because I just want to be on a level as everybody else in the group, or most other people in the Horsemen in particular. A lot of people have got it since the sale that was a while back. which was a great time to get it. I can't say that enough. It was like $25 for the North American edition, which isn't the whole thing, but the only thing you're missing is payware routes. If you want all the functionality of Train 2019, you can go and find the editions, the North America edition and stuff like that. These games that almost like Railworks, where you don't pay anything year to year and you get all the updates, but the content you pay for if you want it. But not like that because you're paying anyway. It's a kind of thing where you could pay a little bit to upgrade and get some of the content, or a lot of it to upgrade and get all the content. And I did the second option because I got on pre-order because there were pre-order bonuses. I know, I shouldn't be feeding into that culture, but I knew I was going to buy it anyway, so it wasn't like, should I save my money and see if it comes out good? I had already heard the reviews from Weibold and Milky, I believe, were the two beta testers in the Horseman. And was like, yeah, sure, I'm sold. This sounds, it sounds really good. The moment they said performance improvement, I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in. No matter what happens from here, no matter what it has, if it gets me better performance, that's a good thing. Because I was like, I'm building this absurd mega route. There's nothing anybody can say to stop me. The only thing that could possibly get in my way is the fact that my computer will overheat and die. So, or more realistically, if I'm going to be realistic about it, the fact that my computer will slow down to a few frames per second, and that's that. And I have to play on render distance tiny. So, yeah, that's my main thing, right? That's my biggest, like, okay, I'm doing it because of this, or I'm not doing it because of this. It was 100% the performance. And it was also the tantalizing tease of multiplayer surveyor and stuff like that, which is slowly becoming a reality. We're seeing the merge of... Okay, that was weird. We're seeing the merge of... what do you call it? Driver and surveyor currently happening in like the beta developer versions that they're putting out, which I think it's awesome that they're doing that. And yeah, it is. People are up in arms about the subscription model a lot, but A, it's not an it's an opt-in thing, and B, it means that they can put out all these content updates. This, it's the kind of thing that the subscription model is directly funding. AAA games cost so much to make these days that really gone are the days where you put out a $60 game and you are set for years while you work on the next one. You need a huge team if you're gonna crank them out at a level that will get you enough money to let you crank them out at that level. You need to have enough people to make enough games, to make enough money, to have enough people to make enough games to, whereas if you put out one game that has a subscription model, you just get money all the time. And so you don't have to worry about how fast you're putting out games, and you can do smaller things in between, it's sort of a minefield the way it is. It's very much a feedback loop, like I just described. But in general, it means that you can focus not on the next money-making release all the time. You can focus on the improvements and things like that in the meantime, which is what N3V is doing. And yeah, they're going to be packaging it all up and putting it out in a DLC sort of release anyway, eventually, for the people that don't care for the subscription model. You can buy all the upgrades to the game. But it also means they get the chance to do things like live bug fixing, where they're pushing, maybe I'm misusing that term, I'm not a coder, but where they're pushing updates to people, real people, and having those real people report back and go, hey, this is broken, or this isn't broken, this is really good. That's the sort of thing that can get you. So, by and large, especially because of the fact that it's not an opt-out, it's an opt-in for the subscription model, it's just an option. It's really neither an opt-out nor an opt-in. I guess it would be an opt-in, but that's not really the way it works. But you have an option of using the subscription model. Because it is an option, I can't be angry at N3V about that. It's them trying to capitalize on people that want all the new stuff right away. And the fact that they're utilizing the content vault, and they really got creative with it, is what I can say. I mean, of course, company's going to get creative with making money. But they really did sweeten the pot. They really did make it interesting in that you get this content vault, and you have stuff that rotates in and out, sort of like Xbox Game Pass, almost. Systems like that have thrived, and there's no reason that N3V can't do the same thing. As always, if you don't really like it, then just avoid it. There is nothing that is just for the paying customers. Eventually, it is all going to be put out in a DLC pack, which, yeah, you will have to pay for. But nothing for the subscription customers. You don't get less of a game by not being on the subscription model, is what I mean. You can argue that all you want. You can argue that all you want. I'll rebuttal anything that people put down in the comments, or at the very least I'll consider it. If I don't have a good rebuttal for it, I don't have a good rebuttal for it. If somebody's making good points. I certainly feel for the people that don't want to pay for the subscription model or the DLC, because in the past, almost everything we've got has been just a free update, other than buying the new game and DLC routes. That said, we really haven't had anything fundamentally game-changing added to the game post-release until now. The driver and surveyor combined thing is huge. The multiplayer surveyor is also huge. I didn't think they were going to launch with that. Also, if it's servers that they are hosting, then absolutely they need the subscription money, because servers servers are expensive. They are not cheap. And in order to run something like a Trains World, anyone who plays Trains knows you need something fairly hefty, and I would assume that their first rounds of multiplayer surveyor coding is really going to be not the best, because that's a hard thing to do, I would think. Trains is 100% structured around having one person in a world at a time. There's a reason multiplayer on its own is so buggy. But having multiple people editing a world at a time, I don't know about that. That's a hurdle right there. So, yeah. I just want people to think about it more than complain about it. Certainly, like I said in the podcast, when we were talking about people complaining about engines idling, for a lot of people, the only thing you can do is speak up, and nobody should withhold their own right to speak up about something. By withholding your right to speak up about something, you're saying that it doesn't matter to you, and that's not a big deal. For people that care deeply about a subject, whatever subject it is, most of the time, speaking up, making a fuss, opening their mouth, is number one thing you can do. Certainly if you don't have oodles of money to throw at a problem. Saying that, these guys shortchanged me or whatever, or something like that, definitely to just... There's nothing stronger than word of mouth, really. And word of mouth, I don't necessarily just mean talking, I mean, news and things like that, information being spread. There's nothing stronger than information. And if you're in a predicament, or you're facing something that you don't like, opening your mouth about it might not only be the only thing you can do, it might be by far the best thing you can do. Okay, so We have a few layers here. Definitely need to fill in this area. We're supposed to have trees come right up to the edge of this. I can tell by this grass around here. But I also kind of want trees only over here, so we need more grass over here. I'm not sure if we're going to do the half an hour rule on a specific area. We're about to hit 25 minutes. I do want to come back to this area, and I kind of think we're on a roll. But we can come back in the third half hour, or even the fourth half hour. We can also spend the fourth half hour doing copy-paste like we did before. But during the second half hour, which we're about to get into, I think I'm just going to go just off to our north and work on that culvert that we were needing to put underneath the highway. That'll keep us spry. I feel like I have plenty to talk about now. We're about to have a Terminus podcast this weekend, with any luck. And, so I really should be saving my breath on a lot of things, but this is mainly for me to talk about me things a lot of the time, and not necessarily about just generic train things. That, of course, all the news and stuff, that's of course saved for the podcast. This is where I get to talk about the fact that I totally busted my finger last weekend. And it has held up video production something fierce. It has made life difficult. It has turned me into a cripple, slightly. And while I am using it now, it's my right thumb, which is my dominant thumb. I had to learn to do a lot of things with my left hand. And, you know, while I did manage to do okay like that, really wasn't my favorite thing in the world to have to figure out how to do things with my wrong hand, or mainly with just one hand. For example, opening a pill bottle to take my antibiotics for this very injury with the injury is difficult. It is not fun. I either press it against my palm and turn, and the palm hurts, and my thumb hurts because it's connected to the palm. And the palm hurts just because of my thumb and the nerves having been kind of severed, gone haywire. Or I try to grip it with my right hand, which doesn't go well in the first place because of my thumb, and hold it with and press down on the top of my left. Anyway, point is, childproof bottles are Ellis-proof right now, and I constantly have to ask Madison to open them. That said, I've gotten a lot better. I am competently using both hands at the computer right now. I kind of had a trial by fire with driving, because I had to go up to Falmouth, Maine for work. Yeah. I hope nobody's annoyed at me for having gone as a cripple and not being particularly helpful. But I don't know why I had to go in the first place. They told us to go up there to... Well, they told me to take pictures of the signals, which I did. And I thought the purpose of taking pictures of them was so that we could get a catalog of all the equipment there, and then turn it into a drawing, and then turn that drawing into like a CAD drawing that we would edit and make changes to the signals. But apparently that's not the case. We just wanted the timing so that we can change the timing. Which, then it doesn't make sense why I took all those pictures. I don't get it. Maybe I should have taken videos instead. Why do we need the pictures? I don't know. I didn't ask. I took the overtime and stuff. Drove up there. It should have gone down to Portland. I missed Mason by like 2 days. Should have gone down to Portland and said hello to Maine Narrow Gauge. But they're in the process of moving out. I'm sure they don't need somebody pestering them. We can talk about that more on the podcast, but long and short of it is, we did talk about this before on the podcast, I think. We should have. It's fairly major news. The Maine Narrow Gauge is no longer going to be in their mill building in Portland. They're moving some of the stuff to Gray, because apparently that campus is far enough along. Sort of. There's stuff there. And they're moving some of the other stuff to the WWNF, which I know we've talked about that part of it. But the fact of the matter is, for those who are concerned with them being thrown out, it's actually, I mean, I wouldn't call it the most amicable thing in the world, because they want to have that building. But the developer, the owner of the building, really wants to redevelop the building itself. It's an old mill building that they're sharing part of the space in. Right now, there's really no use having a beat-up old mill building around, certainly from the developer's point of view, from the owner's point of view. And he wants to develop it, turn it into apartments or condos or something. It's very close to the waterfront. It's in a really great spot. And there's a lot of residential development around it, so I can certainly understand the sentiment. And the reason that the main narrow gauge is leaving fully the building is because when the renovations are complete, they've been invited back, but they decided that the rent was going to be too expensive. Because the building's going to be worth a whole lot more. The developer is inclined to charge more money. Obviously, he has to recoup his costs. Once again, I'm not going to point fingers here and get upset at people. But the redevelopment of the building is forcing the main narrow gauge out because they just can't afford to be in that building anymore. It's kind of a shame. But the city of Portland does love them as a tourist attraction, so the city appears to be doing pretty much anything in their power to make them stay. I know that the main narrow gauge has their lease on the waterfront area that they run in until at least 2025. So for another 5 or so years. And I vaguely remember hearing, maybe from the people at the Big E, that it has been extended, or they were negotiating to extend it. Because, like I said, the city of Portland does want them to stay. They don't really want them to leave. It's not like they're being a nuisance where they are. So, yeah. They are quite friendly with the city of Portland. They're getting along quite well. They're going to be building a new shed at the other end of their line near the swing bridge. There's a bunch of space there, and my assumption is it's going to be for storing, not for storing anything necessarily, but as more of a museum building and a ticket counter. It may also be for storing some things, because I know that their current engine shed is a little heavy on the shed. So, yeah, they may want a better building. This is certainly an excuse for them to do it and have it rail connected. The museum building was not rail connected at all, the old mill building. So, this may be their chance to do something like that. And also the fact that the situation in Gray, to my understanding, is tied up with legal red tape a lot. It sort of incentivizes them to do whatever they can to stay relevant on the Portland waterfront. Again, I think that's just a win for everybody, them staying there. I think they get a lot more tourism that way. I think that the city certainly likes them there. I think the people certainly like them there. Yeah, they're a hit. They're a local attraction. They're kind of a big deal. So, yeah. Anyway, that's your main narrow gauge update. TJ and I are thinking of going to see the winter get-together on the WWNF. I don't remember what it's called, but I want to see that happen. I'm super excited. I love anything WWNF. I want to go to the COG this month. I'm just not sure if I can afford it. It's COG's expensive, like real expensive. I would love to go there for their steampunk. And if I was in a better situation financially, I definitely would anyway. I was going to have like a full carload of people going up there, but almost everybody's had to drop out for one reason or another. And so it's just left TJ and I. And we're both kind of strapped. Him because he's a poor college student, and me because I'm a poor ex-college student and also homeowner and also Volvo owner. So speaking of Volvos, antique Volvo owners, owner, mind you, double. speaking of old Volvos, I got an email today, and it was from eBay, and it said, "Your package has arrived." And I went, "Where?" Because I did not see a UPS guy show up at all, or whatever, any package delivery man. I didn't see Mr. Postman come around. Although I know he did come by. Whatever, there was mail. But I stuck my head outside and I went, "Where is my package?" And of course my first thought is, great, somebody porch pirated me. Congratulations to the new proud owners of a Volvo 240 air conditioning condenser. I'm sure it'll treat you well. But it was actually around back. Now, I don't know if the neighborhood delivery man just does that, because that's not the first time I've found a box back there. But it's not, I do find boxes out front too, and I don't think, the UPS guy always has the same thing. I don't know how it was mailed. It might have been USPS, it might have been UPS or something. I don't remember seeing a UPS truck. I don't think the mailman brought his truck over here, though, during the day. So that would sort of indicate to me that it would have had to be a different truck. But also, I just realized I have my blinds closed, so I wouldn't have been able to see any truck. Didn't hear anything, though. Anyway, sorry. I live in a dead-end road. Any sort of car coming up the street is, reason to look. Reason to be like, who's that? Okay, I kind of want an even rockier version of this, if I can get one. It's got to really blend in. I used to have something that was almost this color. I think this is it. Yeah, yeah, ice. You get it. Okay, so here we go. This is the rock face with no vegetation on it, because it's too steep. So, yeah, that's what arrived today. One more piece of my Volvo wagon. One more thing that will make driving around the country in it tolerable. Also, we way crossed 30 minutes, and here we are. So, now that we found this texture, I'm going to go and do the other thing once I finish patching this up down here. We definitely needed another sort of texture there. We have done a bit. Not a huge amount, but a bit. And I think I've found some textures that we're going to take with us for a long time. This is what I'm talking about. You look for some things that you really like, and then you just take them. Carry them with you. Okay. So, I need to put in a culvert pipe here. I'm thinking of something more modern, more heavy-duty than the brick culvert pipe, so let's go find some culverts. Culverts that actually look good, mind you. Let's see, that's too small. That's too small in more ways than one. No culvert longer. Okay. No. Culvert 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What the heck? Okay. That is way too big. Culvert wood. No, that's not going to fly. Culvert wide and dark. Oh, you know what? I had massive problems with this before. Get that out of here. Culvert Tipton Ford? Oh, never mind. That's JR, isn't it? Also, it's rail, so that doesn't help me at all. Culvert insert. No. Okay, so this looks cool enough. I just don't know about it. I would like to use this. The issue is, I can't. Because it needs embankments on both sides. And how on earth am I going to do that? I'll just do one of these. Simple, it works. It just works. Okay, so let's push this farther in like that and lower it down a little bit more so it's flush with the ground. This is really not enough culvert, I'll say that much. For the amount of water coming down here, you need way more culvert. And I might even add a second one or a third one once we get these guys in position, because, yeah, we need it. Like, this is not good enough. We need to center this a little bit more, so let's... I just centered it in the middle of the green for some reason. That probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. Okay, so let's lower this one down into place. Hopefully there will be enough height to get the to get some of the nozzle exposed, some of the pipe. Okay. Okay. Probably should have used this one. Oh no, I shouldn't have. I take that back. What about this one? No. Wow. Why would you need a culvert that big? Okay, we have three sizes of culverts. We have normal, gigantic, and stupendous. That's the third one. We have normal, oh my god, and oh my god-er. Okay, so let's slide these guys together here. You know what's funny? I was watching, I always talk about how my mechanic, which, you know, gotta talk to him again now that I've got this part in, also have an electrical problem in the wagon that needs to be corrected, and once that's fixed, then maybe it'll be ready for Strasbourg, but I need it to be done by September. I need to be good. I also need to not be bankrupt. That's the other important thing that I keep neglecting. But, you know, still doing okay. I just need to sort of sit on it for a while and hope that further repairs don't cost nearly as much money. The last one was bad. That said, the last one was the whole brakes, like from the ground up, like calipers, rotors, pads, and some other stuff that he just happened to find while he was under there. Like, some of these things that were totally worn through. I don't even know what they were. He just, like... I showed up to pick the thing up. He's like, come here, I gotta show you this. And he, like, undoes this rag that's been sitting in the corner, it's sitting in the corner of the shop. And he's like, this is all your stuff. And he's, like, pulling out all these things, like, you know, I can recognize some of them. And some of them I don't know what they are. And he's like, this came off of your car, this came off of your car, this came off of your car. And I'm like, oh my god. It literally looked like if you looked at the car the wrong way, the wheels were just going to fall off. The way it drove would not really indicate that. He just, you know, and normally Tony is really good about telling me when he thinks there's something wrong with the car, and he knew there was something wrong with the brakes, and he did tell me to get them done, but I think even he underestimated how much it needed. And I think he was scared to undo those, you know, to take those wheels off. I mean, actually, I can say with some confidence, I know he was, because he was worried about being able to get parts. It was like, when I start taking it apart, I'm trying to get the parts in for it, or, you know, talking the way he does. Trying to get parts in for it. I can't get parts for, you know, parts are hard to find, brother. These cars are getting older. You can't just get them from the factory anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I go to you, man, because you know what you're doing. But, you know, he was definitely indicative to me that major repair jobs like that are going to be difficult, because he has trouble, I mean, anyone does in this day and age, finding a lot of these parts online. Now, on the flip side of it, eBay is a wonderful and magical place, where he was like, you need an AC compressor, there's a big hole in yours, is what he said. I don't know what that meant. I haven't stuck my head under there to see the big hole, but he just indicated to me that it would be worthless to try and fill it with Freon because it would all come out immediately. So, yeah. Need a drink, please? Hold on 1 second. Okay. So, he was like, I can't find one. I've looked all over the place. I've called all my suppliers. I can't get a condenser for your car. It was condenser. I might have said compressor. It's condenser. It goes behind the radiator. It looks like a smaller radiator. And it condenses. Anyway. Yeah, he's like, you got a big hole in yours. I can't get a replacement. And I was like, hold on. I was at work. And he'd called me. I was like, hold on. And I went on eBay. I looked up Volvo 240 condenser. And I literally, the first listing, I looked at it for about 2 minutes, described it to him, and then bought it. And so it's here now. It's in the back of the wagon, because where else am I going to put it? He's going to take it out of the box and look at it and tell me if it's good or not. So, you know, whatever. Also, the dude is ridiculously dedicated. He was going on vacation. He's on vacation. I think I already said that. He's on vacation this week. And so, he couldn't work on my car. He got it squared away enough that it could drive off the lot on Friday evening. Or on Friday. I said Friday. But he said it was done on Thursday, and so I went to pick it up, and it was late in the evening. And he was still there. He was still there fixing somebody's car. I mean, lucky he was there, because he didn't have the receipt ready for me, because I had said I was actually going to come by on Friday and not Thursday. But it just so happened to be that he was there fixing something, and that's when him and I got into this whole discussion. He went into the pile of junk and showed me all this stuff, and, yeah. It really makes you wonder if some of that stuff is ever going to be useful for anything other than just melting it down. Obviously the used parts, most of them are totally trashed. You could probably turn them into something and put it on Etsy. That'd be kind of funny. Imagine that. Imagine like I don't know what the hell you would make out of it. Like a clock, make it out of a brake rotor. That's probably already a thing. If it's not, I just patented it, so don't even think about it. Okay, we got done this small area. Go us. Let's get this texturing up to here. Is this the same as that? No, I don't think so. I kind of want to retexture this with this to indicate that there's a lot of water flowing out of there. I don't need that. Yeah. I have all my spreadsheets open again. Haven't done that in a little while. I got into AIing again because I've been working from home a bunch. Because of my thumb. I haven't done it the past few days, even though I probably should have. It would have been a okay use of my otherwise not busy work time. Which have been busy, but, some of these days they just fly by. It's like, oh god, look how much I got done today. Oh my god, it's 5 o'clock. Some of these days it's just bewildering. Some of these days it's like, I really should ask somebody if there's anything I can do for them. Because I'm sitting here like, maybe just like one more page of Reddit. Actually though, the thing that I have been getting up to, in my work downtime, of course. I do have to specify that because I want to make sure I'm not advocating for people goofing off at work. I look around on my work laptop. I do pretty much everything that I do on my desktop, also on my work laptop, aside from play every video game except for Minecraft. And so when it comes down to it, a lot of the time I'll be at work, it'll be like 6 o'clock, and I've worked a full day. I just don't feel like going home, and I just sit down with, Minecraft or Achievement Hunter on YouTube or something like that. And I just sit there for a couple of extra hours, and then Madison's like, where are you? I'm just in the nether. Who the heck is that? Oh. Sorry, 1 second. I need to move my phone. Alright. Put that over here. Anyway. Alright, so we got this area done. That was kind of important. That was a lot of time for not much area, but, again, fairly important. We will probably have to come back here when we're copy-pasting more trees. But, aside from that, I don't really want to start texturing over here because of the way the trees are going to come down. So, back to over here. Let's see. If we're going to change pace a little bit and not do the texturing over here, what I think we should be doing is being on the lookout for splines to use. And I think that the shrub spline will actually do fairly well on... Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. I do also want to overlay grass, or at least I should, but having the shrubs there definitely looks good. Definitely helps this texture. Not that it really needed much helping, it's actually pretty good texture. Yeah, we just need to adding some fluff to these areas. Because we really wouldn't have much in the way of trees over here. We can probably get away with a couple that are clinging to the edge. Like, well, that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. But, for the most part, we shouldn't see too many trees over here. I need to make sure that I do my due diligence with the splines along the edge here, so that when you're looking from the bridge, you can't just see through the trees in such a way that I mentioned last episode. Anyway, before I continue on with regaling with tales of Volvo wagonisms, I think we had one comment? Hold on. Oh yeah, we did. Oh yeah, okay, here I go with this again. Nicholas Wakefield, Mr. KCD&W, says, damn, I remember talking to you over Google Plus right after I first met you. That was like, what, 7 years ago? It's been a damn long time for sure. And I agree, it has been a long time. That was... Okay. So, I don't really know the dates of this stuff. The only date that I know for certain is that I released The End of Days on December 21st, 2012, because that was the end of the world. So, other than that, I don't really know. I know that I knew a lot of the people that I would... at least a good number of the people that I would end up making the Horseman with, basically. I knew a number of them by then. I'm not certain if I knew Weibold when it came out, but I know I knew Weibold around that time because then he decided to write a book of his own, of course. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have a hard date for that. If I could, like, go back and find the threads, the Google things, that'd be kind of an interesting thing to try to do. I don't even know how you would. Actually, you know what? Give me a second, because I might have an idea. Okay, hold on just a second. Where's my email? Never mind, I closed out of my email. I'm not going to try to open a new Google Chrome tab during the show, so never mind. I was going to go into my chat with the Jillies, which still gets activated every once in a while for really dumb reasons, and just see if I can scroll back all the way. Although Google... Oh wait, no, Google Plus no longer exists, huh? Google Hangouts does. And that's basically what we were using. We weren't really using Google Plus, because Google Plus... We call it Google Plus, but it really isn't Google Plus. We're just talking about the IMing and the video calling. Well, I won't say we never, but I certainly never used Google Plus itself in any sort of major capacity. Which it really is a shame that that social network attempt failed as hard as it did. Because combining YouTube and a Facebook-esque thing and well, everything else that Google has to offer. Really smart idea. Doing it poorly and also having it be invite only initially. Not great idea. I think Google Glass did better. Google Glass at least was cool and revolutionary. I want Google Glass. I really wish if anything that Google has attempted that didn't go anywhere went somewhere, I wish it was Google Glass. I would love to have, alternate reality glasses that I can just wear, that I can just have on. If they have like a sunglass mode in particular. I am not sure if this looks good. We just grabbed a thing and started placing. Oh, I'm out of control, guys. Well, let's see. We need a less heavy grass spline for, why are these all the different... Oh, that said Nestle. I think I did that before, too. Nestle spline. Yeah. Ground cover now. I want something wide. I want something double wide. Like this. This is not double wide. How does this look up close? If I have to delete this, I'm going to be upset. When the sun reflects off of these, it looks terrible. But that's just taint. That isn't my fault. Not taint looking terrible, just the way that the sunlight is being rendered is not good. Sorry, I just got totally distracted. I was talking in my own head about nothing. Yeah. Do we like that? I don't necessarily dislike it. I think the texture alone was not good enough. So, adding some sort of ground cover is kind of necessary. I'm just not sure if I like it. Having a different texture underneath the same spline can really make the difference in a lot of cases. It can really be a game changer. Right now, I don't know if we have the combination right. I really, I'm not going to change the texture. And I don't dislike the grass on its own, I guess. But see, the thing is, we're making this fuzzy hillside. And I'm fairly okay with the fuzzy hillside. I don't know how it's going to look in Driver without all these spline points. But it's going to look something like this. And what if I just knock out the middle? I think I like that a little bit more. So we'll just do this on the very edges. So it's like, yeah, the grass can almost grow here. What time is it? Hold on. How come I can't? Hold on. I don't want to edit the session rules. I want to edit environment. Okay, it is noon. Oh, goodness. It's like golden hour. Typically I end up seeing it like this. It's a little too yellow, honestly. It's a little bit pissy. just want less color. That's better. Thick. Yeah, I kind of like that better. Also, that's weird. Look at the bridge shadow. Sorry, I'm having way too much fun with this. I keep getting distracted. I keep going down little rabbit holes in my brain. So, yeah. Let's get back to work. That was a long time without me saying anything. That was a really long time. I sincerely apologize, because that was probably you guys thinking, did the audio go out? But no, it was just me playing with things. Okay, game. Okay, game. Okay, the game's upset with me. Whoops. Anyway. So, yeah, let's work on this down here. Yeah, we didn't really use Google Plus. Just to come back to that for 1 second. It was just Google Hangouts, I think. I'm pretty sure. Because Google Plus was way more involved than I ever really cared to deal with. It was... I didn't quite ever understand it. I think I did like 2 things on it ever. I won't pretend that I even began to understand Google Plus and how to use it and what to do on it. I never even really understood Facebook, and that's like beginner strats right there. I still have a Facebook. I haven't logged in. Well, I logged in a little while ago because there was a alert on my account. Like, hey, somebody might have broken into your account. I was like, that's great. This account that I haven't used since high school is going to be compromised, and my mom's going to be upset. So I logged on, and I, looked at it. And I was like, doesn't seem like there's anything wrong to me. And then I went and changed my password, and then I logged off again forever. I don't want to delete my account, because then people can't tag me and things. And by people, I mean my mom. If you're friends with me on Facebook, if you want anything about me to ever appear in your feed, be friends with my mom instead. I don't know if she's one of the people that'll just friend anyone that asks her, but if she thinks that someone's just some random foamer that's trying to friend me, then she'll probably ask me. I don't mean to put this upon her, because I'm not really sure she deserves it. But I'm just saying that basically nothing happens if you friend me on Facebook. Nothing will ever happen. I didn't even really look at my notifications and stuff when I logged on that one time. I was like, alright, check in my password. Password is changed. Good, done. Logging out. Recently, though, I did log into the Iron Horseman account for the first time in a while. People sometimes will log into that. People from the Horsemen, everybody has the login for that account pretty much, or they could at least ask for it. And they'll go on and either look at comments or sometimes answer comments or, do that sort of thing. And I went on specifically because I wanted to make a new playlist. And it's for our Discord, for our music channel, and I decided that, okay, so we have Song of the Day. We've done that for a couple of years now. We've done the Song of the Day. And it resets at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, and whoever says Song of the Day and posts a song first, that's the Song of the Day. I wanted to, for a while, compile those into, a playlist. This is the Iron Horseman soundtrack. It's all the songs of the day. And then I realized we had already made a playlist called the Iron Horseman soundtrack. And I was like, that's interesting. So I went through the playlist. I weeded some random junk out. I don't know how certain things made their way in. Some things that weren't even songs. But, most of the stuff being posted by the Iron Horseman didn't really help me to discern who put what in there. And yeah, then I was like, alright, we'll take this, we'll adapt it, I will add things to it. So now I keep it in, it's now called Iron Horseman Radio, and it's linked to in our music channel, and it is, crap. It gets bigger every day, usually. One song goes in every day, because it's the song of the day. Song of the day goes on top. Also, if I'm running Iron Horseman Radio, which I do from time to time while I'm at work, which is, I'm not DJing because everyone has control over the GroovyBot, but I'm just sitting in the voice channel with the GroovyBot, with my mic muted because I'm at work, and anything that comes up that people add, I just put in the Terminus playlist. And if we run out of songs, I start playing the Terminus playlist, or the Iron Horseman Radio playlist. So, yeah, originally I wanted to have a chat called Iron Horseman Radio that would, that I could play that sound, or that stuff in. And I was like, that works. I made an Iron Horseman Radio channel that you couldn't talk in, you could only listen in, unless you're the GroovyBot. And then I also set it to the AFK channel because I figured, what would be cool is if somebody goes AFK, they go into this channel, and then they can, when they come back, they're listening to music. That'd be kind of neat. And then I found out that the AFK channel mutes everyone in the AFK channel. So that was immediately a bust, because then the GroovyBot was muted and couldn't say anything. Couldn't play music. So, that was a bust. I really wish I could sort out who gets muted in the AFK channel by role. I feel like that could be a good thing. Discord did put out an update, though. I don't really get what it's for. Server folders? I was really hoping that was like a file transfer thing, but that doesn't appear to be what it is. I know there's a limit to the number of servers you can have, but Jesus Christ, we have enough with one. Or I have enough with one. I don't need 1 million servers. I certainly don't want to have enough servers that I have to categorize them by folder, or really by anything. So, yikes. Who has that many servers? Anyway, that was my thought with that. I was really hoping it was some file transfer thing, because you can, the size of file that you can transfer on Discord for free is just kind of pitiful. On Skype, once upon a time it was totally unlimited, and now it's 300 megabytes, which is still pretty hefty. You can transport a lot of things that way. But now, really, the only solution is just to go through Google Drive. For Discord, at least. Or just to boot up Skype instead. That's kind of funny. Skype has been relegated to a file transfer program. Anyway. Okay, so there's our bush around the bottom. And anyway, we crossed over the half-an-hour mark again about 10 minutes ago, and I wasn't totally distracted. So here we go again. Let's make some texture. Texture time. Pizza time. I could use some pizza. Oh. I'm going out on Saturday for, what am I getting? Well, we're going to a place called Lux Burger in Providence, which if you're in downtown Providence, I wholeheartedly recommend. Not that anyone here is really going to have that opportunity, but I do recommend. So, Lux Burger. They have a couple of things. For one, they've got burgers. Sort of like in a wheel situation where you just give them I want this, 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 and this burger. There aren't like presets or, numbers or whatever. It's just, you get a literal checklist. There are a few places that do it like that. And I love every single one of them. Because it's such an awesome way to do it. Anyway, they also do that with macaroni and cheese, and that's what makes me happier than almost anything on Earth. Because, oh my god, you can get a massive thing of, this is what I do sometimes, pulled pork, bacon, mac and cheese. And I am starving just thinking about it. I've got pasta in the fridge, but I'm starving just thinking about that. I can't wait for that. That's tomorrow night. That's date night. Unfortunately, date night... Hopefully, date night and the Terminus podcast don't get in the way of one another. But, you know how that goes. They always do, and then somebody gets upset. Somebody is usually me, because I'm either upset about ruining date night, or upset about missing, like, the one opportunity to do the podcast, because apparently it's really hard, to get 3 people out of 6 people together. In the summer, mind you. In the summer. It was easier during the winter. Because there are no other seasons, either. Anyway. I'm not sure if I like all the grass, but we're doing it anyway. I always feel the need to have ground cover because, well, to make up for the fact that this is in 2019 and we don't have ground scatter, I just need to have ground cover. But it just feels, you know, the ground feels two-dimensional without it. Of course, that's a very literal statement, but it does. That said, actually from here, it doesn't look half bad. Also, I said we're doing texture, and here we are. That didn't take long. I just work on autopilot. I'm just trying to get things done. We're getting things done. That's the important thing. Once we can close this gap and get this area done, which is going to be the third or the fourth half an hour of the show, I think. Then I'm going to be pretty happy. We've made significant progress at that point. Though this is not going to get done. This is going to be an enigma for a little while, I think. But just getting this underway is an important thing to have happen. And I need another drink. You know that very satisfying sounding when you go to the movies and they have the little slide beforehand that just has the sucking up of the soda and eat the popcorn. Some of you guys might know what I mean. I'm not sure if that's just a Showcase Cinemas thing, and I'm not sure how regional Showcase is. It's funny, right? You think about these big chains that are near you. For me, it'd be like Stop and Shop, Showcase Cinemas, even Dunkin' Donuts. But Dunkin' Donuts is pretty nationwide. What's another chain that is local to me? I mean, Greg's, but nobody's under the impression that Greg's is not a Rhode Island thing. Same thing with Ocean State Job Lot. It's right there in the name. But it's like these things where you know these stores, right? And then you go to make references about them to other people that are across the country, and they're like, "What? What is a Stop and Shop?" And like, I've picked up on what a lot of these other stores are because of other people. You know, like, we don't have an H-E-B here. I know what that is. I know it's a supermarket. But I didn't know, or I wouldn't have known if it weren't for, like, the Rooster Teeth podcast. It's the kind of thing where, why would I ever know about the supermarkets that are regional chains that are in other places? One of the ones, I think these guys have just sort of taken the world by storm because they weren't anywhere. Then there were some in Troy or near Troy, and now they just seem to be cropping up all over the place. And that's Big Y, which is another supermarket. Although there are some that are like, yeah, that's nationwide. And the ones that get nationwide attention, like Whole Foods or something. Whole Foods, I'm pretty sure, is totally nationwide. Dunkin' Donuts is mostly nationwide. there's very few places. You won't go to a place and people won't know what Dunkin' Donuts is. There just might not be one nearby. And that's when the New Englanders start to panic. What's another good one? What's a regional chain for you guys, and what are they? That's what I want to hear. Something that is a regional chain, and I'll say if I have heard of them. I think it'd be entertaining to play a little game where you guys say what the name of the thing is, and I try to guess what it is. But I don't know how I would do that in the same comment. Oh, you know what? Oh, go down a few lines. That's what I want you guys to do. So, put the name of a regional chain down in the comments, and then add a few lines in so that it says, read more or whatever, and then say what the type of name of the chain is, and we'll play a little fun game maybe. Or what the type of chain. I think you guys know what I mean. Name of chain that's visible, and then type of chain, or what the store is that comes up when you hit read more. And I don't mean like a single shop, although you could do that too. I'm not sure if that would be better or worse. But I am saying like a regional store. And I'll say if I know it or not, and I'll try to make a guess at what it is if I don't know it. Because Big Y, I would think that's like a gym, maybe. I wouldn't call that a bad guess. It's a gym. But no, it's a supermarket. Whole Foods, I don't think you can get that one wrong. Stop and Shop, I don't know, you might think that one's like a clothing store. And then there's generic ones like Shaw's Market. It's like, that could be literally anything. But I would assume it's not like a women's underwear store. It's just not the kind of name that you'd use for that. What are stores with really misleading names? Now I'm trying to think. Dunkin' doesn't really tell you anything anymore. It used to be Dunkin' Donuts, now it's just Dunkin'. I'm thinking of Krispy Kreme right now. I'm really hungry, can you guys tell? I've got a giant thing of pasta in the fridge that I should eat, and I should have eaten before I started the show, but I wasn't hungry then. I literally have gotten I didn't have to go then from Madison on multiple occasions, and I feel it. I understand. I understand on multiple levels. I understand from her point of view, and I also understand why my dad would be so frustrated with me when I had to pee in the middle of a trip. We didn't have many of those, though. There were very little... There were not many in the... God damn it. There were few National Lampoon's moments in my lifetime. In my youth. So, we didn't get a lot of that. We didn't take a whole lot of giant road trips. When we did take long trips, we either flew like civilized people, or on a couple of occasions took Amtrak because I'm a foamer. And my parents knew that from a very young age. So, they didn't scold me. It was very nice of them, but they took me to nice places like Thomas Land. Took me to Disney. We rode the train a bunch. That was it. Just kidding. But the first time I went to Disney, I was too short to ride a lot of things because I was very small. The thing is, I'm the youngest member of my family, youngest in my generation now, because some of my cousins have had kids. But I'm the youngest in my generation by a bit, so not being able to ride the rides was really fairly unique to me. It's not like my family went too early. It's that my family went when everybody else was ready. All my cousins and stuff, they were all grown up. We had most of our grandparents still alive. And almost everybody came. We had what was called the Golden Girls. And this is something I think very fondly back to, because my parents have been divorced for many, many years. And when I was little, the stuff that would happen, the huge gatherings between the Tamelio and DiBiasio families were epic. They were enormous. Both sides of my family are huge Italian families in their own right. They're from the same area of Italy, but they're both huge Italian families. And when you put those two together, it got crazy. It got huge in the sheer volume of people. But we had the three oldest women in the combined Tamelio di Biasio family. My grandmothers, both of them, and my great aunt, I think. I don't know my actual relation to her. I just always know her as Teresa. It's a very Italian thing, again. She might not even be part of the family, but she is. So the three of them were together. These three old ladies, and we, no joke, called them the Golden Girls for the entire trip. And I look back on those pictures, which there are still, like pictures in photo albums and stuff like that of the three of them, and I'm just like happy because it was so cool to see everyone together like that. And I'm looking forward to sometime in the future hosting combined Tamelio di Biasio events at this house. That's going to be difficult. I think I'm going to wait a little while before I attempt that, but it's something I'm looking forward to because it's just a little part of my childhood that went away a long time ago, and I really wish I had back, and I'm going to get back by force. Not by force. I'm going to get back by bringing people together. Whenever Madison and I get married, which I don't have a date set for that yet, but whenever Madison and I get married, I hope that the mixing of the Tamelio and Di Biasio families, because her family's like 8 people, the mixing of the families is thorough and it sparks a lot of friendships. It happened a bit at my graduation parties, because those sides of the family really hadn't seen each other, but a wedding is a different kind of event. So, I'm hoping that happens, but like I said, I want to cause some of those sparks by inviting some people over. Invite some people over here. Also kind of want my own bocce set. If you guys don't know what bocce is, you should look that up. It's really fun. Few people, including Nick Wakefield down in the comments, played it for the first time at my family reunion a couple of weekends ago. The Tamelio family reunion a couple of weekends ago. And they said they all had a great time. Madison was another one of those people. And it is my only time that I get to play bocce in the year, and I love bocce. And I kind of wish I had my own bocce set, because, I want to invite some people over. And play bocce. Don't have really a place to do it. Maybe we'd have to go up to, one of the parks or something to do that. Walk up the hill. But, it'd be entertaining. I wonder how hard those things are. I wonder if you accidentally dropped it on, asphalt or something, it would break. A bocce ball. I'm going full Italian. That was really weird. The air conditioning kicked in at the same time my phone rang, and for a second, it was almost like my phone had shut off the power of the room. Because the air conditioner comes on, and it just, the lights flicker or whatever, because the house is old and badly wired. A few of the rooms, the ones that had air conditioners in a lot of the time, had, uh-oh. What the hell? Oh, okay, my shift key was stuck. Sticky keys! They have had wired up special plugs that are just for air conditioning that go to their own circuit breakers. And that was a cool and very smart thing to do from my dad. And also, then there are rooms like this one, which were never really designed to have a big air conditioner in them, and it has this massive one in it that was designed to cool pretty much the entire house. And now it's in here. So, It does a really great job of keeping this room cool, and I dare say it does way too good of a job, because usually when I'm in here I have to turn it on and off a lot. Especially if I'm sitting on the couch, which is right in front of it, so I'd be blowing it into my, the back of my neck. Uh-oh. Hey, wait a minute, where's Bandicam? Oh, sorry, I haven't been recording this whole time. Just kidding. Hide that. Alright, continue with this. Right now it's blowing, and, cold air sinks, so it's just... The cold air is just skirting along the floor, and I can feel it tickling my shins because I'm in shorts. I'm in jorts, guys. I'm not actually in jorts, but... Why do people hate jean shorts, anyway? People hate them enough that they came up with a mean name for them. I don't mind jean shorts. I have a pair of jean shorts that I made out of a pair of jeans, because they just had a giant hole in them. Why is that a bad thing? I'm being environmentally conscious, I'm reusing. Remember, it's reuse, reduce, recycle in that order. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's reduce, reuse, recycle. Yeah, reduce, reuse, recycle in that order. You try to limit the amount of stuff that you use in the first place. You try to reuse the stuff that can be reused, and you recycle everything that can be recycled. Aside from the stuff you've reused. Also, I probably should have waited to do this area here. Yeah, we should probably work on this area instead. Oh, it's cold in here. It's cold, relatively speaking. It's 75. I'm sure I'm torturing this poor, I'm torturing this poor air conditioner by making it run for, 2 minutes at a time. I'm also probably torturing the poor wiring in this room by just running it in the first place. It's just, I have to wait until the end of the day now to make under construction, because otherwise it just gets so hot in here. The other thing I could have done is batten down the hatches in the whole house, and just run the big air conditioner, the really big air conditioner, in the other room. And then, what the hell was that? And then, I wouldn't have to worry about any of this. Because I would just be cooling the whole house. But then if anybody comes home, they interrupt the video. So, I don't really want that. I know people are out. Yeah, both people are out. Both Madison and Shay are out with their friends. And they probably won't be back for quite some time. But, I can't predict when they'll be back, and I don't want to be interrupted. Anyway, alright, let's fill this in here. I'm just waiting. We're about to hit the last 30 minutes. I'm just waiting to be able to copy-paste stuff. I'm so looking forward to it. Also, I need to shave. I I haven't left the house in a week. And I need to shave. My mouth, or my mustache, has grown to the point where it is infringing upon my mouth when I'm talking. And I'm not a big fan of that. Oh, I see. I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. I didn't know what it was. The light on my monitor is flickering. Weirdness. Yeah, we have Volvo wagon stories. So, I've talked about in the past, the electrical gremlins that tend to crop up when Volvos get old, or when anything really happens to a Volvo. They're very, very robust cars, except for that. And they can be really tough to squash. And so, the electrical gremlin in the Volvo wagon, aka the Horseman wagon, or Betty, Black Betty, persists. And I still have no gauges. They came back for exactly 1 day, and I haven't seen them since. And I'm nervous about driving the car because last time it was paired with the alternator not charging the battery. And I don't want to get stuck somewhere because I'm running off the battery dies. You know, whatever. I'm not sure if I can make the trip from my house to the mechanic. I'm really hoping that I can. But, yeah. I'm not sure what it takes to charge. If I hook up, the battery in one car with the battery in another car, just let it sit like that. I'm wondering if it'll slowly charge that battery. I have a vague idea that that's how electricity works. I just don't know if car batteries will be receptive to that method. Alternately, I could just borrow the battery charger I said I was going to borrow before well, not before I busted my thumb, but I said I was going to borrow it. I asked to borrow it. Was it when No, it was after I busted my thumb that I asked to borrow it. I don't know why I asked to borrow something that I can't go get very easily. It's kind of difficult for me to go anywhere, as a matter of fact. I'm still offering, I'm a chauffeur for my entire friend group. So I'm still offering people rides, but, if I have to drive myself somewhere, I typically just don't. I drove myself to the clinic so that they could tell me that my thumb was infected and to give me antibiotics. But that's because I was concerned for my health. I drove to Maine, which is quite a distance, but that was because I was getting paid for it. Yeah. Speaking of which, I need to submit an expense report about that, because that was a lot of miles traveled. A lot of miles traveled in a car that I was not supposed to travel those kinds of miles with. Tony was right to tell me not to take the wagon anywhere. He's like, just drive it nearby. Don't drive it anywhere else, just drive it nearby. And I was like, you sure? You just fixed it. And he's like, I don't know if I fixed it. I don't know if it's fixed. I don't think it's fixed. And, because he seemed kind of sketchy on the repair work that he did to it, and he was right to be. So, he's certainly not the kind of, again, trust that man with my life. He's certainly not the kind of mechanic to upsell himself and say that he's a miracle worker when he isn't, which he is typically a miracle worker. But when he doesn't think that things are good, he says so. His own work, I mean, not just like your car, because there are plenty of mechanics that'll tell you your car is busted. And not necessarily mean it, because they want the money. Where is the other... Nope, that's shrubs. Where's my other... Oh, there it is. This grass. Okay, so let's fill in this grass here. We are in the final half of the show. I am going to get away with calling them halves because they're half hours. Yeah. So there's that. This looks like a... Here we go with the food again. Looks like a layer cake. I'm starving. You guys want some layer cake? You guys want some effing cake? I swear it's the truth. Let's grab... Okay, so we need buildings. We don't need terrain. We don't need splines. We want this. That's a pretty hefty area. So let's start off with some big stuff, and then we'll move on to the smaller things. Let's rotate it, so that we can just get right along the side of this road here. We will need stuff for underneath the road, as usual. Let's just put it over the top of the road, because honestly, who cares? Not me. The copy pasting is doing pretty well right now. It's been doing well for us. I've had to do a lot of database repairs lately, and that might have something to do with it, but right now things seem to be going pretty okay. Okay, so we're running out of things to do with our larger brush. Let's grab a smaller brush. I don't really want to... Yeah, let's do that. How come I didn't paste the paint? Oh, there we go. I might undo that. Oh, wait, no. Undo that, because I need those trees there. We are, okay, we are replacing. Just wanted to make sure. Alright, so we're going to skirt along the coastline here. I don't want to infringe too much upon the mud, because that's just stuff we will have to do over again. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I get all of the area that I need to get. Doing it like this, without spinning the box, is sub-ideal, but it doesn't really matter either way. It doesn't make a huge difference. Spinning the box just keeps it from looking really silly from orbit. And right now it looks pretty good. Anyway, there are some areas where you can clearly tell that I tiled stuff. That is one. Let me see if I can just pick one out, because I know there are areas where it really does look bad. I think right there is one. Yeah, you can tell. There's some tiling going on there. But look at that. Look how good that looks. We're missing that spot right there, but this whole area is done. That comes along, guys. That comes along fast. So we are going to work on this area for a second. At the very least, I'm going to clear all the trees out of here. And then we're going to move along, because there's nothing... I mean, there are plenty of things worse, but there aren't too many things that I find more annoying than thinking that I cleared out all the trees from an area, and they aren't cleared at all. And so then I have to go and do it right then. Obviously, I have to do it sometime, but I don't like leaving this for future me, because then future me gets kind of annoyed. A lot of the time I will look at it on the map and go, oh, look, this area's done, and then I'll fly by it later and realize there's trees in the middle of the road, and go, idiot, why didn't you do this the first time? There have been a couple of times where I have ended the episode right after copy-pasting, which is actually fairly normal. But as a result, I haven't gone through and done the tree clearing that needs to be done. And so I start the next episode or whatever. I either start the next episode or I come into trains just to play around. This actually happened not too long ago. I was gonna drive something down the VMR, I think. And I start driving and I just run straight into a stand of trees. And I'm like, why did I forget to do this? Why didn't I take care of this when I was supposed to? And it was just because I had ended an episode without doing that. Or I think it's because I ended an episode. I can't say for certain. I cannot say for certain. It might have just been me being forgetful. Or me doing... It definitely wasn't me doing something and then a crash happened. Because it was fairly recent, I think. Unless I'm imagining the whole thing. But it was fairly recent, I thought. Although, when I finish a section, quote-unquote, with trees, and then forget about it, it might have been any length of time between me doing the actual copy-pasting and then trying to drive a train through there. That doesn't work. Let's see. Okay, we need to get rid of all the trees on the highway. Time to do this, too. Did we do any up by the tracks, or was this just all road trees? I think this was just all road trees, but I will go up and check the track again just in case, because we don't want to have exactly what I just described happen again. So let's do our best to really pile the trees in here, though. I want to make sure that the forested areas are forested enough. But certain things, like these big leaf maples, they are okay. Those are the big leaf maples, right? But at the same time, they can definitely be a problem. Okay, so we've got some trees in here. Let me get rid of that. Or no, move that. Don't get rid of it. Oh, I got rid of it anyway. I thought I clicked on move. I guess I forgot. Or I missed. Or whatever. Okay, so that area there, let's see if we can get any trees back from the water line, or at least move them into areas where, if we don't have texture in an area, that means that trees need to go there. And if we do have this grass in an area, this grass, that means that trees don't go there. So I need to look for those two things and shift trees from one spot to another. I think that's pretty good. I think we did a really good job with that. And then I'm just going to need to fill in that with some sort of generic grass texture that I'm going to pick out of the three that we use. I'm going to randomly click, and that's the one I'm going to use. Ooh, you know what I want? Ice cream. Still hungry. That's going to be the episode name. I think, see, sometimes I'll come up with an episode name. Usually it'll be an episode name about what we're working on. That's the easiest thing to do because I'll look at the video and go, oh, that's what we finished. Let's name the video after that. And so I'll just do that. But sometimes it's like, I don't know what to name it, or, maybe even I don't really remember what happened in that episode, which if I record on like a Thursday and post on like a Tuesday, which, there's a fat mistake for you on my part. But that happens from time to time. That happened this week because of my thumb really put me out of action. I didn't really... it's not that I was incapable of recording the zombie train, but I was just not at my computer. I just didn't want to be here. I just wanted to lay on the couch and watch Achievement Hunter and try to forget that my thumb was awful. So, yeah. It took a while to do that. But when it's that much of a length of time between recording and putting it out, I will easily forget what I worked on that episode. And so then that'll put me in a position where now I have to figure out what I title this video. And then I have to I just go to a random point in the video. And then I name something after that. It's not like the Terminus podcast where I have in the background a running list of all the things I think we could name this episode. Which sometimes I will leave more than one in on the Terminus, on the Cargoes document. I'll leave more than one hypothetical episode title in there because I think they're both equally funny. But of course, only one can go on YouTube. Last episode, I'm not sure if I left it in for last episode, so I'll say it now. Last episode was either What is Serbia Known For, which is what we talked about, or Naughty Korea. So, yeah. It was also the episode where we opened the Discord, and also the episode where I had the biggest, maybe the largest production failure I've had on a Terminus podcast in a really long time, which led to me having to re-upload it and also reprocess it and then re-upload it, which that took forever and really spoiled the Discord announcement, so I was kind of annoyed about that, which also this means that this podcast marks the 2-week anniversary of the Iron Horseman Discord, being open for business this Saturday, I should say. I think it was Saturday. I don't remember. It's so hard to get the podcast done on an actual Saturday. I know I always push the narrative that, yes, we always film on Sunday because we're always on, or always film on Saturday because we're always on time. I don't remember when that started, but it's just the running joke for me that we've always filmed on a Saturday and that we are never behind schedule. I'm just basically trying to gaslight the hell out of our audience to make them think we're perfect. But that would only work if we had an audience. So, really not losing anything there. Alright, so we got one side of the river in. Should I do this other side real quick? Because that would really sort of finish off this area down here, and it would let me start working on this. Let's see. Let me just make sure I didn't put any trees over the track once again. I don't think so. No, all the track texture is fine, so we definitely didn't do that. Before I do that, or sit down to do some texturing here, let me look ahead on the railway and just make sure that there are no areas, what the hell's going on there? There are no areas where we have the splines in, oh, yeah, right here. Only to here, though. Only to there. And they're separated by this. Well, I don't know about this one. This one I probably want to do splines with first and then come in here with the trees. So the trees will stop right there. So, yeah, let's go do that other area that I just was talking about. Although, yeah, that can't be done yet. This whole rim can't be done yet. This can be done. This needs a hell of a culvert pipe. Wait a minute, let's see if we can use the mega culvert pipe. The culvert arch of doom. Culvert... wide, nope. Large. That isn't it. That isn't the big one. Yeah, that's like a medium-sized one. That's good enough, though. Culvert cap, no. Culvert, I like that one, but I won't use it. Culvert 2. Bum, bum, bum. Look at this thing. Look at how big this is. This is not a culvert, this is a bridge. This is an arch bridge. This thing is so big that the ex-ambassadors are singing a song about it. That took me a while to formulate that joke that, like, nobody's gonna get. So I'm not gonna say I regret making it, but I really probably should have gone with something better with my time there. Okay, let's sink this thing all the way into the ground. This seems worthless. Why is this like this? Why would you make a culvert this big anyway? Ever. Not like in trains. Just like anyone ever. And they don't line up at all. Now get down there. There we go. Alright. Yeah, no, I hate this. I really don't like this. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Totally worthless. What about this? Nope, that's the same little one. Wrong one. What about, this one? No, that's not good either. What about the medium one that we had? The one that's called Culvert Large, but it's actually kind of medium. Yeah, there we go. You. You there, look alive. Freight to move, money to make. What is in there? You can, like, sort of see to the end of it. I feel like it's supposed to go up against a totally vertical wall. I feel like I could make that happen with the walls that we've been using. I feel like it's not worth it on this piece of road that nobody's ever going to look at. I don't know why it sounded like I was going to cry for a second there. Nobody's ever going to look at this road. It's so worthless. I'm sorry, road. I'm sorry, little one. Snaps the road in half. Removes 2 of the lanes. It would only be perfectly balanced if it was 1 eastbound and 1 westbound lane that got removed, so... I guess that'd actually be northbound and southbound, huh? Whatever. Nobody cares. People only care about the meme. Also, the section of trees we grabbed was honestly kind of garbage. So let's grab a different one. I don't want one with big leaves at the edges. Although that's going to have one at the corner, so that's kind of worse. That's marginally better. Big leaves being as big as they are, they sort of create an impediment to having the edge be finely tuned. This is what I was talking about with tiling. So, if I spin it like this, it's just going to sort of randomize the... randomize the shape of it, but honestly I should be stopping when I'm clicking. It's kind of dumb not to. I wanted to share my exploits in Minecraft, because I never got to do that. So, I spent some time in my hardcore world this past week, while I've been stricken, just trying to relearn, like, how to use a mouse with my right hand, because I haven't used it. And I figured the best way to do that was to put myself in terrible peril in my hardcore world, which at this point has a lot of hours in it, especially now. So I started to like realize the dream that I had when I found this village that I've been going to for quite a while. And it was, okay, so it's pretty far away from my base. There's not really an easy way to get there on horseback because there's a lot of bodies of water. Not like big ones, but big enough ones. And it's not easy to get there on a boat either because the bodies of water aren't contiguous. So I decided, ooh, you know what? You know what I can do? I have all this iron because I've been mining like crazy. I have all this iron. Why don't I build a rail line? First of all, realization number one. Building a rail line takes a lot more iron than you have. It doesn't matter how much you have, it takes more. Realization number two. Building a rail line takes an absurd amount of time. Especially if you're building it to DOT spec, like I am. Because I just wanted to know what that felt like. Third, there's basically no way to make a minecart railroad look really good. Without going crazy with it, there's no way to make it look good. And even when you go crazy with it, like I sort of am, it's not easy. So, basically just give up, go home, and make a tunnel instead. But that's kind of what I did. No, it isn't what I did at all. What I did was said, I realize this is difficult. Leroy Jenkins. And I have been building this railroad for several days now. On and off. I have made it a ways. I don't know how far, but a ways. I'm not sure I've gotten the achievement for on a rail yet, so it isn't that far. But I also have been, once again, trying to comply with DOT spec. So I've been spending a lot of time doing things like grading and bridge building and surveying, too, because I can't just go in a straight line if I don't want to rip my hair out. So, yeah. It takes a lot to do real proper surveying in Minecraft. If I had 1,000,000 banners, it would maybe be easier. But doing it with, well, the occasional campfire and otherwise just cobblestone pillars, not the easiest thing in the world. Just trying to figure out where you are in relative to other things that you've built. I found the end portal, is another thing that I did, and immediately lost it because I didn't have a banner on me, and I think I sort of know where it is, but without being able to just, look on the map and know where it is, it's kind of vexing. I just know it's around. I also found a zombie spawner. The first actual dungeon that I've found, well, in Minecraft period in a long time. Whoops. But in my hardcore world. Did not get a notch apple out of it. Although, if I did, I would have probably just squirreled it away. So many things in hardcore Minecraft it's exemplified, like I'll save this for later. So many games you play and it's like, ooh, I have this rocket launcher or whatever, but what if I need this for like a boss down the road? I'm not going to use it right now. And then that right now never comes. That boss never shows up. So, Minecraft is like that a little bit, but it also has a lot of going the other direction too, because there are a lot of things where you can get a pretty hefty number of them in Minecraft pretty easily that will save your butt. And I'm talking like potions and stuff. Minecraft is a game where you can either totally play it by ear and just go off of whatever whatever life hands you, or you can grind it to death and get every single thing you could ever want. Without that much stress. Like, I'm probably going to turn the zombie spawner I found into a zombie grinder. I haven't built one myself in a very long time, and I haven't built one, period, in the new update. So I'm not 100% on how it works, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. One of the additional challenges I've been doing on hardcore, or to enhance my hardcore experience, is to not look anything up, to not use F3 at all, and I think that's it. I think that was it. Just both of those things. Not using F3, so I have gotten kind of lost before I had a map. and not Googling anything so I can learn, about anything specific. There are things that I have Googled because they're new in the update and I wanted to learn about them, but not like, I've encountered this thing in hardcore and I really want to know about it. What do I do? So, looking up things like formulas or guides, tips and tricks, that sort of thing. Not doing it. I'm just trying to figure it all out. I'm trying to learn the new crafting recipes. I'm trying to, discover things on my own. I wanted the hardcore world to be like almost like that sort of feeling you get when you have a server refresh. And it's like, oh wow, the world is brand new. Anything can happen. I don't know, anything. I'm also not going to, of course, use cheats or punch the seed into a seed finder. I don't even remember what I used as the seed. I did use an actual, string of words or something, though. Oh, crap, we gotta fill this area in. I keep flying past it, and I'm not thinking about it, but we have to fill that area in, too. So, yeah, it's been a real adventure for me, and I've been having a really great time. Hence the, spending a couple of days building this railway for almost no reason. Because I did end up building a couple of bridges, and I've been slowly chopping down trees. Like, if I get caught on a tree, I get out, chop it down. Get off the horse, chop it down. But when I was going back and forth on my horse, just so that eventually I would have, a path. But then I kept losing the path, so I think I was making, 4 or 5 different paths. I don't know, nothing ever lined up. I had one waypoint on my map that I would go via. And it's called, what is it called? Dorabee, which started off as a couple of other names, and I eventually merged them together. It had 2 bridges, so I was going to call it Doe Bridge, and then I used the Doe idea for Doe Cliff on Tolbrand, and I didn't want to be too repetitive. So I just sort of sat on, a name. I couldn't come up with anything. And then I thought, of the bridge to Terabithia. And I was like, yeah, that's sad. So let's not, obviously, call it Terabithia. And then I was like, well, what if I combine the two and do Dobia, or Dobithia, or Dobith. I think Dobith was a working name for a little while there. And then I was like... And then I just sort of mixed it around, and out came Dorabee. I don't really know what all happened in there necessarily, but a lot happened, some thinking came down, and then I had Dorabee. And I quite like Dorabee. I had another name for it, too. Oh no, there is a place nearby that I was naming... Oh, Mayborn. Mayborn. I was going to name a place Mayborn. And I've been trying to find names for all the unique stuff on the railroad. There's a couple of areas with some pretty good-sized bridges. There's a couple of areas where the railroad climbs pretty heavily or is in this deep... There's a couple places where it actually weaves through a river valley, which for minecart rail... Not the easiest thing to do, especially if you want to make it look half decent. But I did manage to pull it off. I think, at least. And there's going to be more areas like that, because I still need to finish the railroad. I'm maybe 3/4 of the way done. And I am at one of the toughest sections. Not the toughest, I think I passed the toughest. Actually, no, that's wrong. I'm about to hit a mountain biome. I need to figure out a way through it or around it without ripping my hair out. I had this really cool routing, almost like a California Zephyr-style routing, along a river, but the cliff walls there are way too steep for me to try and build a railroad hugging the edge. I would be pulling my hair out with the cut building. So, my also alternative thought was to say screw the railroad, and to have a point where you just get off and take a boat, because the river valley does go pretty much all the way there, but the valley may go all the way there, the river does not. And to punch it through to dig out the areas where the river doesn't pass would have been a significant effort and not something that I wanted to do, although I still might end up doing it eventually. Because it may be a much quicker route to do that than to go around the biome, which I think I found a half-decent route around. There are just a few good-sized hills in the way. Nothing mountain, but a few good-sized hills. Yeah. It only has one tunnel so far, though, and it was part of this second river valley hugging thing that I did. The first one I actually cut through part of a big oak biome, whatever you call it, with the giant mushrooms. I don't know, I think it looked cool. I really need to get a shake-up of trees along this edge here because it looks really tiled and I don't like it. And now let's... Oh, the thing I missed was doing the other kind of... I missed doing the other kind of grass along here. I missed the shrubs, but I guess that I've, for a long time, deemed that kind of unnecessary in areas where the railroad isn't. Because you're not going to be looking at this from too up close. Except right there. Ah, crap. Well... Oh well. Also, we're totally missing a... This forest has a bald spot. Look at that. Let's do, for a second, I don't normally do this, but let's do this. There we go. Alright. Anyway, just want to point out as well that there was another set of Democratic debates. It was on CNN. I believe it's fully accessible on YouTube for those who want to keep up with the ever-growing list of people that want to defeat Donald Trump. It really is kind of absurd, but that candidate field is going to be narrowed down pretty significantly when you consider who actually has the support to get that nomination. Anyway, this is our doing today. It's been pretty significant. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. This is the Admiral, signing off.